So me and my mom just have a difficult relationship with each other. Lately things are getting easier because we don't spend as much time together since we are back at our jobs. Um, but one thing that's really bothered me lately is um, she has asthma and she has COPD, and she is a smoker. And she's been a smoker for decades. And she was just recently hospitalized because of a lack of oxygen. And she's still smoking cigarettes. So, that kind of really bothers me. But I also feel like I can't do anything or say anything about it because I also smoke cigarettes sometimes. Um, so I just feel like very stuck, specifically in regards to that because I fear for my mom's health, but I feel like such a hypocrite, um, mentioning anything to her because I smoke cigarettes and every time, I try and get her to quit smoking, I have to quit smoking too. Um, and it's just like so hard because we live in like the same house, and so if one of us is smoking then the other is smoking, and when I try and bring it up, um she just gets kind of like nasty about it. So it's good that we're back at work, and don't see each other as much, and when we do we just kind of stay in our separate rooms.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say that I'm sorry to hear that she's in the hospital. Um, and I hope that she's recovering okay. Um, so I do want to talk to you a little bit about, you kept saying how it was bothering, like the circumstance bothered you, and the idea that she's smoking while having her difficulties with asthma and her oxygen levels and things like that um, bothered you. So I wanted to get into what bothered, like what all goes into that feeling of being bothered.
um yeah, I think one of my biggest fears is that she is just going to die one day. um and it was really scary for me in that moment because I was there when she had to go to the hospital, and it was like very traumatic. It was just like really quiet and like uncharacteristically quiet, and I ran into the kitchen and she was just like pointing at her throat like saying she couldn't breathe, and then she got like really blue in the face, and it took a long time for the ambulance to come and get her, and they didn't even tell me where she was going, they just took her. And I had to stay upstairs because I had the dog with me and she couldn't be alone. Um, so, I was hoping that this situation would open my mom's eyes up and that she would see that she really needs to start to take care of herself. Um, but clearly that didn't really do it for her. Um, and so I guess I'm just like a whole bunch of different emotions. I'm sad. I fear that she's gonna die, and I'm also just like mad at her because it's just like, what will it take?
Mhm. Yeah. So you feel as though, like, with the scare that she recently had, um, you would think that she would change some of her health habits and hasn't.
Mhm.
Um, and so the health habit, I'm guessing that, you're most concerned of is for smoking. And you mentioned that, you know, she smokes and you also smoke.
Mhm.
Um, so what I'm wondering is, what purpose for you does smoking serve, do you think, for you and for her?
Um, I think, I have a hard time like speaking for her. Like I said, she has smoked for decades, so I think it's just such a habit that it is hard for her to imagine, um, life without it and to really be able to like stick to that. Um, and for me, it just helps me with stress, I think. When I get like really, really stressed out and things are feeling like very out of control, um, I want to grab a pack of cigarettes, and having her smoking just makes it even harder for me to say no to it.
Mhm. Right. Because I remember you saying how, perhaps maybe you guys have both tried to cut back on smoking, but when you see one smoking, then the other one begins to start smoking and things like that. So it sounds like there's some back and forth with um some of the, life choices that you guys want to make maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also like, if I see my mom not taking care of herself, it's almost like why should I? If like my parent doesn't even care, then like why do I need to?
Okay. So you see that, she's not taking the care of herself in the way that she should. So it makes you not want to do the same.
Yeah, it's just like what kind of like role model is that? And so like I get angry because of that as well, because she's just like given up on her role of like being a mom and like being a good role model or a good example, which, you know, I don't know if she like ever was, but it's just like zero effort now.
Mhm. Do you feel that perhaps like she's just never been that role model for you and there's some anger there with how she like with her parenting style maybe?
Yeah, I think that for most of my life I felt very uh like I have to do things on my own. Like I have to do things by myself. I can't rely on my mom, and certainly not on a dad or a father figure. So yeah, I think that there's still just like a lot of resentment for me in terms of like how our childhoods went and how I was treated, and how she was like as a mom. And I think that even though she was like a cool mom, um, she also just like didn't have any rules or like limits even for like herself. And so it was just very much so like growing up with like another sibling that was just like much older.
Hmm. So like by cool mom, are you referring to like her the presentation of less boundaries or less rules for you guys, or tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think other people thought that she was cool because like um when they like went out of town, like we would have parties at their place, and not that they like knew about it, but like there just like wasn't any discipline, so we would just kind of like get away with things. And me and my mom like have done things together, like we drink together, um and like take drugs together and stuff like that. So like even though other people think that's cool and like I think it's cool sometimes, it's also like not normal. um and just makes me feel like, yeah, she was more of like a friend than like a parent that set rules.
Mhm. So if say you had that ideal role model in your life or that ideal parenting um, present in your life, what would that look like for you? And how do you think that would change um, your experience?
um I think just having somebody who is like emotionally and physically available, um, it just like my mom doesn't do a lot of things because of her health. And so hanging out is like basically just, sitting in like a living room and like watching TV together, which like it's is fine, but like, it's not like I wish I had more. Um, and so yeah, because of like her health situation, I just feel like we don't get to do as many things as like we could if she was in a better spot. Um, and I think that she is just like not very accepting of me. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think that just like setting those limits and um I'm like drawing a blank. Yeah, I think like trusting me and like thinking or like giving me like some time of day or anything like talking well like whenever we talk about um coronavirus or like things going on with like all of that. It's just she's very dismissive and stuff. So like having a parent that wasn't like that, I think would have is what I would have wanted or like would want now.
Mhm. So it sounds to me that, there's a bit of resentment with, the way that she had acted in the past, and a bit of anger with, um, her ability to be able to hang out with you now. Um, and maybe even some willingness to hang out with you or things like that. I feel like I feel like also with that, there's an undertone of desiring more from your mom and more time with her and more, understanding and communication with her. Is that, you know, does that sound about right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I would like to have a better relationship with her and I would like to communicate better with her and stuff like that. It's not like I don't. I just feel like I have to like I have no control over that. Like I do my part and I can't control like what she puts into things. Um and so yeah, it's um yeah, just really frustrating.
And you're saying how, so you feel like there's like not that, mutual effort
Hmm.
that's placed on your relationship. So I wanted to know a little bit about like what are some of the things that you feel like you're putting your effort into, or ways that you feel like you're putting effort into the relationship that aren't necessarily being reciprocated.
Um yeah, so like birthdays, for example, I tried to get everybody together for my mom's birthday. Um, and she was just like, um, oh, I have work and I don't really feel like doing it. And like I always do things for her for like Mother's Day, for Christmas, for her birthday. And then when it's my birthday, I feel like, nobody shows up for it. She'll like wish me a happy birthday and like maybe a card or something, but like, you know, it just feels like nobody ever wants to like get together for me or my birthday or yeah, nobody wants to
Mhm.
like just hang out.
Yeah, so you feel like you're kind of being like maybe left out a little bit, or not, people aren't taking time to give you or make some effort toward, nice gestures for you.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like I do that for other people all the time, and I do things for them all the time. And yeah, it just would be nice if like somebody thought about me for once.
Mhm.